So I'm a big fan of soups, but I like to make soups in 15, 20 minutes. Usually I don't have time to make a soup that takes all day. And I know some of those soup recipes are, are low and slow. Well, not this one. It's a real quick fix. You can even throw it together when you come home from work. So we're going to start with 1.5 pounds of ground beef. And if you wanted to lighten it up, you could certainly use ground turkey or ground chicken. I know Anne, my partner in crime here, is a big fan of using ground chicken in a lot of her recipes. It's a quick, easy switch to make things a little more healthy. And in a recipe like this, you're not even going to notice that it's got so much going on, so many great flavors. You're really not really going to tell the difference. Also going to add some onion, about a cup of finely diced onion. And while that is hanging out and cooking, I'm going to take a half of a box, or about 8 ounces of, these are little mini lasagna noodles, and they're so cute. They're super duper cute. Now, if you can't find them, you could use rotini noodles, or you can actually just take broken lasagna noodles, which whenever I make lasagna, there's usually a noodle or two in the box. It's all broken up. Don't throw those out. Put them in a Ziploc bag and then crunch them up, and they're perfect in this soup. So you've got a couple of different options when it comes to picking out the pasta for this soup. I just happen to love those little mini lasagna noodles, though. They're really cute. But if you can't find them, or you don't want to run to the grocery store, if you've got some broken, regular big lasagna noodles, just use those. No big deal. All right, using the old chop and stir to break up the ground beef and get it nice and crumbly, like you would in lasagna. All right, let's get to the cheesy part of this recipe. So this is really fun. You know how we've got ricotta cheese in lasagna, which whenever I make lasagna usually has a big layer of nice ricotta cheese. So we're going to put a little ricotta cheese in the soup. Stick with me. I'll show you how it all is going to go down here. So ricotta cheese is this wonderful creamy cheese, but it doesn't have a lot of flavor by itself. I really love it, but it really needs some flavor added. So we're going to add some garlic salt. And in fact, I think I'm going to add it to, what did we do with that other bowl, Anne? Just want to be able to really mix it well together. So we're going to do some garlic salt and some Parmesan cheese, and that's going to flavor this right up. And you'll see where I'm going with this in just a few minutes. We're not going to drop this into the soup. It's going to be a little surprise in the bowl of soup. It's really easy to mix. It's a very soft cheese, so perfect. Looks great. Okay. I'd even do a little more garlic salt in there. And again, you could lighten this up and use low-fat ricotta cheese. That would work just fine. Okay, how's our pasta doing? Oh, we didn't season the pasta. Is that what you're trying to tell me? No. Little salt. There we go. Oh, breadsticks. I knew Anne was trying to tell me something. This is great served with any kind of wonderful, garlic bread for dipping or dunking, or French or an Italian baguette, or breadsticks. So we're just going to pop those in the oven. Just pick those up at the grocery store. They're already done for me. Brush them with a little melted butter if you wanted, and season them with a little garlic salt if you wanted. Up to you, but always nice to have something so that you can sop up every last bit of this soup. All right, we're going to season our ground beef with a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. I love my garlic salt, actually, so I may even come in here with a little bit of garlic salt. Before fresh garlic was all around, the go-to seasoning in my house growing up was garlic salt, and to this day, I'm still a big fan of it. Some pepper. And don't let me overcook that pasta, okay? Because it's going to go back into the soup, so that's a really good thing to keep in mind is when you're, putting pasta into a soup that's going to cook again, you actually want to undercook it a little bit. All right, fresh garlic. Nowadays we have fresh garlic or jarred garlic. It's very easy to, not that they didn't have it way back when, but it just, you know, people didn't use it like we do now. So I'm just going to give it a rough chop. Okay, in goes our garlic with our ground beef and our onion. About 2 to 3 garlic cloves. All right, perfect. Let's check our pasta. These are little guys. They cook up very, very quickly. So, and as I said, I don't really want them to overcook. I want them to be undercooked, actually. So I'm going to get them out now, and they'll continue to cook a little bit in this colander, and then, of course, we're going to throw them into the soup. So really best to have this underdone. Okay. Now, a couple of different sauces we're going to use to bring this together. We're going to do 1 jar of your favorite marinara sauce, whatever's on sale. I'm also going to season up the ground beef at this point with just some dried Italian seasoning. That happens to be a blend, but if you have like dried basil and dried oregano at home, a little dried parsley, you can make your own. So I'm going to give it a good kind of, you know, lasagna-y type of flavor. I always like to put just a little bit of water in my spaghetti sauce jar. That way you'll get the jar all ready for the recycling bin. And we got every little last bit of that sauce out of there. Now we're going to add 1 can of crushed tomatoes. See, Anne, you're going to like this soup because we're not going to have any big chunks of tomatoes in here. It's a very kid-friendly soup. It's really fun. I think the kids are going to have a blast with this one. Both my kids really like soup. So this is, you know, they come in after a long day of school. It's fun to have something like this. What's for dinner? Lasagna soup with yummy breadsticks for dunking. Chicken stock. It's soup, so we want this to be not a sauce, we want it to be a soup. So chicken or a vegetable stock would also work. I wouldn't use a beef stock with this. I mean, I'm sure you could, but beef stock has a really strong flavor, and I think it would kind of take over. And the chicken stock is just going to be more of a background. And a lot of even my beef soup recipes, I'll use chicken stock, some of the recipes, rather than beef, because it's just tastes better. And then we're going to do a little bit of sugar. It's not a real sweet sauce. Don't worry about that, but that little bit of sugar is just going to work with the acid and the tomatoes, and it's really nice. A drizzle of balsamic vinegar also would work if you want to avoid the sugar. Okay, check my breadsticks, clean up my mess, and we're going to get to the finish line. I want this soup to come to a simmer, and then we're going to add our pasta back into it. Ooh, our breadsticks are almost done. How about this, guys? How about we take a break and wait for our soup to come to a simmer, our breadsticks to toast up, and then I'll show you how this whole soup comes together. It really is like a big piece of lasagna in a bowl, and it is fantastic. You need to make this. You can get the recipe on our website. You can also pick up this recipe at any area Festival Foods.